is to go through this. Again, it's just showing you how to open a spreadsheet, how to save a spreadsheet with control, save as or control S. If you're going to convert a Google Sheet to an Excel file, here it shows you just click File, Download, go to Microsoft Excel. All of this should hopefully be a review. And then if you're using numbers, you would, convert to an Excel, very similar fashion here. Active cell. So it goes through almost the same things. That's why I put it together. We talked about a row. We talked about a column here with investment names. We talked about labels. So it just gives you a little bit more in depth. We talked about values and numbers, right? And so entering data. So this should all be hopefully a review. But if it isn't, then I highly recommend you go through this. Okay, and then let me see. So here you're entering data. You have the cells. We have we do here find and replace, which is a lovely feature. And you see here it highlights for you exactly where the find and replace is. And it shows you find what maybe you're looking for 2025 in your spreadsheet, and then you're going to replace it with 2026. So you would enter here 2025, and then here you would enter 2026. So right here, you would put the 2025. And then here you would put the 2026. So just go through this so that way, and if you don't know, again, these pointers, I recommend keeping this in your notebook because you might see a few pointers on your exam. And then here, cleaning the data, it shows you how to look for duplicates. Trim is a function that I love because you can trim out anything in the end. You could also do left and right to retrieve just X number of characters from the left or the right of the cell. So those are another cool tools that I like to use. And it kind of shows you how to clean your text. Always remove extra spaces because that just gives it just gives us another line. And then special characters, you want to make sure we use them correctly. So if you're using a pound sign, just make sure it's there and make sure that unwanted symbols, sometimes when you download like an ampersand sign, it gives like information before and after it. So that's the unwanted symbols that usually happen when you're exporting data. And then when you need to clean data, this is probably the area in business that we spend the most time. So one of the tools that we use in business a lot is called ETL, extract, transform, and load. We extract data from one data set. We transform that, which is when we're cleaning the data. And that's what we typically do in Excel. And then we load this new clean data set into another program, like maybe a data mining software like Alteryx or IDEA, to start looking, or maybe a BI software like business intelligence software. So this is where we spend a lot of time. And I know we've talked about that. But what happens is why we need to clean the data is because we have formatting issues. We might have duplicates, missing values. If you have missing values, you have to decide what to do with it. If you don't have proper names, if you have outliers or anomalies, you might want to remove it. There's special characters. How are you going to handle that? And then how are you converting the data? So these are the tools that we use, especially pivot tables, I'll tell you, and filtering. So I mentioned conditional formatting earlier. So these are the tools that we use to make all this data cleaning a lot easier. So if you don't know how to use these tools, we should know. And we talked about the relative referencing, that it'll move over, the formula will move over every time you copy it. Absolute, we know that here is relative. So you just have C1. So if you move this over from C1 to D1, it'll add the formula. But here, with the absolute, it is telling Excel, do not change this cell, the C1 cell, for example. Keep it all the way down. So that's how you do relative and absolutes. The equal sign we talked about, right? It's very important. It helps us to create those formulas. Syntax, right? So the best way, if syntax is probably one of the areas that most students struggle with because you don't know how to do ifs with the commas or the quotes. So the easiest way, here you need the comma or otherwise it's not going to add the whole range of cells for you. The easiest way is to use the formula wizard. So that would be my recommendation until you get the hang of it, especially if you're doing like VLOOKUPs or HLOOKUPs. Those can be, you need to make sure you put the commas, you need to make sure you put the quotes. And it's the easiest way I've learned to do formulas. So I recommend that, and I'll show you. So here, in addition, like we said, we add with the equal sign, and then you hit the plus sign to add the cells. And this is what I recommend here, not to enter equals 5 plus 17, but to enter the cell reference like A1 and B2. So that way, if you change those cell numbers, say we change this to 19, then it would automatically adjust to the 24. So that is my recommendations. We talked about the sum function and simple calculations. So we know equal tells Excel that this is the place to go. If we want to subtract, we use a minus. If we want to multiply, we use the asterisk. And if we want to divide, we use the slash. And if you add, you just use the plus. So all your major arithmetic functions are there. And so then for multiplication, you could also use the product function, but most of us just typically just use the asterisk. And then you're all set to go. And that's right on top of the number 8. And then there is also a quotient function, which can also be for division, but again, we pretty much just use the slash like you see here. So either way, it'll come out. So if you prefer this way, I would say most likely we are using this, because then you got to get all of that, type all that. As you start working, you'll see that keystrokes are important, right? The more keystrokes you do, the worse. And we talked about the order of operations in Excel. So we did right? So this would do 3 times 2 first. So that would give you 6 minus 1 to get the 5. And this one, since the 2 minus 1 is in parentheses, it would do that first and get 1 and then multiply it by the 3. Calculating percentages, you can actually just multiply by 100, but there is also a function, and I'll show you that. There's just a little percent sign, and bingo, you're done. The max function we know was here under our summation, and so we had talked about that. We can get the maximum number in a set of numbers, and then the min is right behind it. And that usually gives us, so that's part of descriptive statistics, and it gives us the ability to, see what our maximum value is, what our minimum value is, to see the range, and to see how many items are in the cells too. We talked about the common errors. Here, it's like if you have a value function, like we've noticed, you can't have panda, right? So you can't add those two. And then this is if you divided by 0. So if you see this function, you cannot divide by 0. It's not allowed. Oh, shoot. Not allowed. So, and then reference means you might have a circular reference. That means you're trying to multiply something by itself. So that means that your formula might be off. So when you see a reference function, that means your formula is off. What I recommend is if you have formulas that have you're nestling, that you're adding several formulas in one, do one formula, make sure it works, do the second formula, make sure it works, and then you can combine it. And like we said, if you see all these pound signs, that just tells you that what you're displaying is too small. Make it bigger. Formatting in Excel, you can format a bunch of different ways, not only, by your font, your size, your color. You could do cell borders, you could do cell backgrounds. You can align your cells to center, top, and left. I love text wrapping, so that way I can keep the cell basically smaller, and then it just wraps the text so it fits within that cell. And sometimes you might, if you do that, then you have to probably usually adjust the height and sometimes the width. So formatting tools, which is really nice. So there's a lot of built-in features. So if you see here under page layout, we have themes, and you have all these cool themes that you can use, and that's automatically done for you if you like that. I mean, I'm a little bit more particular, so I like to fix my themes, but you can change those themes. You also have styles within the cells. You also have borders, like I said, colors. Conditional formatting is like one of my favorites. You can highlight a set of cells and basically tell it, give me, highlight anything, and you can choose the preset highlighting parameters, anything above, or anything below 59%, let's say, so that I can reach out to those students if they're not working. When you're using styles and references, the key is consistency, right? Everything should be organized and professional. Accessibility, make sure that people are able to read it. And branding, I'm like big on that. Like if you see the lessons that I create for you, I actually use a web dropper so I can get the exact color of the red for IUP and then add it to a lot of our presentations. So I think it just, the more you use logos and colors, it helps. And that's brand identity, which my marketing people will tell me is very important. So thanks for the marketing peeps in that. So we have formats of the data types. Numbers is probably the most common, but we might do dates, we might do times, and those are also formatted as numbers, but you can display it as a time. We might do text, like I said, when you're adding an apostrophe. We talked about the if function, but then you can have all of these others. So if this and that, you can add that. And we talked about the errors as well. Any one of these, don't worry, you can fix it, but sometimes it's annoying to get. I understand, you know. So when you're managing rows and columns, one way is you can also have paste options. Paste special is probably one of the best items I use. Sometimes I'll copy it and paste special just the values or just the format. So there's a bunch of different options that you can use, and you can clear content as well, which is always helpful because sometimes I have to start from scratch. And here's another part where you can adjust the width. You can do it here. And here is your hide and unhide options. No problem. You can leave whatever you like. Thank you for letting me know. And no worries, if you are sign in and it shows a nickname, there's no attendance for this class. That's why I record all of the lectures. So no worries, no worries. Printing options, right? You can print the active sheet, the workbook, the selection. I would always say to do the page setup and make sure that don't submit a spreadsheet without formatting it for printing. So that's just like good spreadsheet etiquette. I can't tell you how many times as a CFO I sent the spreadsheet, like I looked at the spreadsheet on the server, and I'm like, why didn't you format this for printing? Like, come on now. So that's a good spreadsheet etiquette. Oops. And then here we have more options so that you can optimize your printer options. So you can look at that and it'll tell you if you want to use black and white, what type of paper, if you want a color correction automatic, I highly recommend that. Obviously, here's your document size. Most of us print in letter, but you might sometimes have legal. And if you want to reduce or enlarge the document, that's also pretty nice. I've used that as well. Oops, I've used that as well. And you could even do watermark features. So you can put right across the document like draft, which is what we typically do if it's not. So especially with financial data, we don't want things to get, people to assume it's a final. So hopefully what I recommend for these two particular pieces is to make sure that you know how to do all of these things in Excel. Again, that should just be a review from your ITMG 110. But since we have a little bit of time, let me open up my Excel and share where all of these features are for you. So let me get rid of the PowerPoint and move you guys over and then share my Excel. Let's see. Let's go here to desktop 1. So hopefully, let's make him a bit bigger. So you'll see all my fun stuff here. And let's see if I have any good data. Here, I just did so here's a simple spreadsheet that, are you seeing that? Yeah, perfect. So here's a simple spreadsheet that I did. And so which I wasn't good. Every spreadsheet should have some title. So I should have said like Indiana University of Pennsylvania. This is an ACPAC grant proposal. And then you should have a date. I did this, it was due on the 2nd, I think. So here you go. Now, if you don't like this date, what you can do here is come up here and you could say, here's a short date, a long date. So you can change it, and you see how we got those like little, pound signs that tells us it's too small. So you can click on that and it'll make it bigger. Then what I recommend is always like having this, you can click up here and click on this little icon. Now I am a toolbar person. So
It's 12 o'clock.
let me make this bigger. So I am a toolbar person. So you will see here that I do everything on the toolbar. Usually in accounting, we do things on the toolbar, but in finance, they usually use shortcuts, on the keyboard. But I am a toolbar person. So if you click merge and center and you highlight this, it just merges it and centers it for you. And then here, what I like to do is just use all of these nice cell features here. So if you click up here, you see that you have all these great cell features. So I'm just like, let's put this in here like this. And that's what I did for this one. And what I did here is that I requested a grant for all of these tools to practice and use in the classroom. And here you'll see, oops, I did here just a simple, so I did the equals and I did, this was $18 a month for 12 months. Here is the users. And then here I did a simple multiplication, as you can see, right? And then down here, I did the sum function. So I just came up here, click sum and highlighted all of those amounts. And then if you hit here, Control C to copy, if you paste it here, then you see that it's using this, the relative cell reference. So that's just, and then basically the conditional formatting is up here. So you can highlight cells, let's say, let's do this and let's just do conditional formatting up here and say highlight cells that are greater than, and see, and then here it'll say format only those cells that contain. So let's say it's greater than $228. And then here you can click on this little guy and say you want to do that in green instead, or you can customize your format. I tend to do it just in one of these colors because I like it, and then you hit OK and it automatically highlights the cell for you. So this is another way that you can complete, easy cell formatting, and it works really nicely. And then to remove it, you can just manage rules and then you can just clear the rule. And so then you can just click delete and then click OK and it goes away for you. And so then here's the formula wizard. So if you click under formulas, you click insert function. This will open up for you and then it'll give you over here the function. So I use left, net present value, count A, concatenate. These are all of the functions I use. But if you don't know, you click VLOOKUP, right? And it'll automatically bring you here. And then you click insert function and it'll tell you each of the steps of the function. So the lookup value, if you go down here, it tells you this is the value to be found in the first column of the table. And then the table array you would highlight. So you would just click over here on this little bit here, and then you would highlight the whole table. So that would be your table array. Your column index, say I want it to look up gamma, and then it would tell me to bring back column. And so that would be 4 because it says here this is the column in the table that you're matching. And then the range is if it's true or false. If you omit it, it stays there. So then if I type here, let me see, let's do some Kahoot. And I did it in this cell, so I'll remove it. And then if you hit done, it should bring you back to 732. Then it'll just add it there because I added it to, let me remove that. Let me move this over, sorry. Cut that so I don't mess this up. Let's put this here. And again, we put an equals in front of it. And so here it says Kahoot, and this is the 4th column, and that's what it's bringing me. See? So if we look at here, I said column 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you look at this, and see, I said go to column 4, and it's bringing me the amount from column 4. And if you do the same thing with HLOOKUP. And so those are probably, I think, the main functions here. And then, like I said, if you go to home, basically, then you have this is where you'll probably spend most of your time. So hopefully that's a quick overview. Any questions?